did. I think he did what he had to do. I think that there was a lot of discussion and there was a lot of arguments back and forth between myself and Andy, kind of on one side, and the writers on the other, about how the season should end for Shane, how The Walking Dead should end for Shane. I think because it got, we did sort of verge off the comic a little bit. It was open a little bit for interpretation. Look, I really look at. I really think that Shane brought Rick out into the woods to make him take this final step. I think that there was an alternate. I can't speak today for some freaking reason. There's an alternate ending that I pitched and we almost got, but we didn't get it. Which, if you want to hear it, I'll tell you. Yeah! I'm gonna get in trouble because I keep. Anyways, I'm on the show now, so.
Show now, so what are they gonna do?
So the idea that we had was, and I think in a pretty cool way, ended up kind of playing a little bit. But the idea that we pitched is that everything happened the exact same way, but when Rick and Shane, as soon as Shane talks to Lori and she tells him thank you, that's sort of everything that Shane wanted to hear from Lori by the windmill there. And then, but Shane still knows that he's got to get rid of this prisoner, Randall, to keep Carl and Lori and his unborn baby safe. So he's got to kill this prisoner. So he takes the prisoner out in the woods, he snaps his neck, he comes back, same exact thing that happened in the show. And when I'm telling you this story, it's like I pitch it to the writers, so you got to make as few changes as possible because you don't want them to have to do too much. But so you keep it the exact same way, and then when Shane comes back and says the prisoner escaped, he and Rick go looking for the prisoner, the same thing that happened. Shane and Rick are looking in the woods for the prisoner. All of a sudden, Shane stops. Rick says, "Why are you stopping? We got to find the prisoner." Same as what happened in the show. And Shane says, "No, we don't. I killed the prisoner. I snapped his neck. That's what you should have done." And Rick says, "What are you talking about?" And Shane draws his gun, same as in the show, points his gun at Rick. It says, "Come on, be a man, I'm right here, let's fight for Lori, let's fight for Carl, I'm the father," all that kind of stuff. And as in the show, Rick takes his gun and says, "I'm not gonna fight you, man, you're my brother, I'm not gonna go there." And this is the first change. Instead of holding his gun out, he says, "Hey, look, you're gonna have to shoot an unarmed man," and he throws his gun. This makes Shane go crazy, so Shane approaches Rick, puts the gun right up to Rick's face and says, "You've got a broken boy, and a broken woman, and a weak boy, and all that stuff," and you really push it to say something disgusting like, "I know what your wife tastes like," or something like that. To really push Rick to really, because he's really gone off the deep end, and he's pushing him, and then as in what happened, Rick stabs old Shane in the stomach, and he falls down on the ground. As Shane starts to reanimate into a zombie, he starts to get up. But now remember, that change I said, Rick is throwing his gun. So when Shane starts to pop up as a zombie, Rick grabs Shane's gun, which is right there, and points it at zombie Shane, as zombie Shane's coming towards Rick. And Rick points the gun at Shane, and it just goes click, click, click. Then out of nowhere, Carl blasts him, and Rick looks at the gun, and he sees that the gun was never loaded. And so Shane brought Rick out into that woods to make him kill him. And see how we're getting kind of a half applause? That's sort of like